meet someone new. I guess my chances of that happening are somewhat diminished, seeing that I'm incapable of making eye contact with a woman I don't know. Maybe I should get back together with Naomi. She was nice. Nice is good. She loved me.
Memories can be comforting. They can be entertaining or inspiring or even peaceful, but they can also be heartbreaking. Like many of the films constructed from the cerebral and somber works of Charlie Kaufman, the subject of today's episode is a sleepy journey through the mind of ordinary people dealing with ordinary things but seen through an extraordinary lens. Whether it's identity crisis, existentialism, love, belonging, or heartbreak, Kaufman's writing perfectly captures something inside of us with each and every story. And sometimes when I'm sitting on the couch on a rainy day and looking for something to put me in a lazy but reflective mood, I turn to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I'm gonna marry you. I know it.
Okay.
Eternal Sunshine is the 2004 Academy Award-nominated fantasy romantic drama written by Charlie Kaufman and directed by Michel Gondry. The film explores dating as an adult and the inevitable heartbreak that comes with the end of a relationship. Much like the stages of grief, we'll see our characters drift through their relationship and breakup while also dealing with their own individual insecurities.
Are we like those bored couples you feel sorry for in restaurants? I can't stand the idea of us being a couple people think that about.
Carey plays Joel, a shy and quiet man who's just broken up with the love of his life, Clementine, played by Kate Winslet.
No jokes about my name.
Upon discovering that Clementine is undergoing an experimental surgery that will erase Joel from her memories, Joel decides to get the same treatment in hopes of bypassing the pain of the breakup. But along the way, Joel finds himself wandering through his own memories, literally, and rediscovering his undying love for his once girlfriend. Now against the clock, Joel must find a way to save his memories of Clementine and restore their chance to be together. And along the way, we are in for all kinds of cerebral adventures and maybe even some hidden meanings. So join me in today's episode where we are guaranteed to feel happy, nostalgic, sad, sleepy, and yet alive all at the same time. And we'll figure out once and for all, what is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind really about? Now, if you've never seen this movie, it's one of those things where describing what happens probably won't do it justice, in the sense that the movie's plot is less complicated than the structure of the story and the visual representation of the characters' inner struggles.
Here, look, feel better. You can really kill me this time. It's my turn. Go. 1, 2, 3.
You're really gonna die, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
You're dead.
Say who you are. Really say it in your life and in your work. Tell someone out there who is lost, someone not yet born, someone who won't be born for 500 years. Your writing will be a record of your time. It can't help but be. But more importantly, if you're honest about who you are, you'll help that person be less lonely in their world. Because that person will recognize him or herself in you. And that will give them hope. And it's done so for me. And I have to keep rediscovering it. Its profound importance in my life. Give that to the world, rather than selling something to the world. Don't allow yourself to be tricked into thinking that the way things are is the way the world must work, and that in the end, selling is what everyone must do. Try not to.
Kaufman's writing style loves to play in the world of non-linear storytelling and gently disorienting scene writing. I personally think this movie serves as a wonderful example of Kaufman's most notable sensibilities, although the recent Netflix drama I'm Thinking of Ending Things is perhaps the most Kaufman-esque in my opinion. Or maybe I just really love that movie. But what this movie aims to bring the audience in on is the realism of the situation. Unlike your standard studio rom-com, the movie doesn't glorify one's emancipation from a harmful relationship as if it's instantly washed away, but it instead presents us with a grounded approach of seeing our two lovers cope with the harsh depression of failing to make it work. This ain't no storybook romance either. Joel and Clementine were cute and clearly infatuated with each other, but as Joel begins drifting through his own subconscious, we also see the relationship begin to grow stale and the two grow resentful of each other.
Hey, would you do me a favor and clean the goddamn hair off the soap when you're done in the shower?
Yeah.
Really...
I think by looking at some of Charlie Kaufman's other works, we can see that he finds value in using melancholy and vulnerability to relate to his audience. After all, we've all felt like this before.
She's not looking at me. No one ever looks at me.
As Joel goes under to sleep while his memory is wiped, we get a chance to meet some of the film's other talented cast. We get a young Mark Ruffalo as one of the technicians, along with Kirsten Dunst, who plays the lab receptionist, and Elijah Wood, another lab tech, who also helped with Clementine surgery and has taken somewhat of a romantic interest in her, and he starts using what he learns from Joel's memories to seduce Clementine. This could be seen as the story's way of pushing Joel into action and kicking off his arc.
I stole a pair of her panties as well.
The character of Joel is very flawed, and this shows from the very beginning of the movie. Much like many people in their late 20s and early 30s, Joel spends a lot of his energy internalizing his insecurities and just trying to get through the day. At first, it's quite easy to feel for him though. As I mentioned, Carrie is acting his ass off, but Joel is the easiest kind of character to fall for. He's sweet, he's seemingly genuine and compassionate, and if nothing else, he means well. But through Joel's memories, we see other sides of him that have us simultaneously understanding his need for love, but also Clementine's reasons for not being able to give it.
Well, you don't know me, so you don't know, do you?
At first, Joel feels as if the breakup wasn't his fault or even in his control, but his memories with Clementine suggest otherwise. From Joel's initial perspective, Clementine was cold when he needed warmth, and distant in all the ways he needed to be close.
You know, he would say things like, okay, we're going to try to create real, moments between people who have loved each other for a long time. And next thing you know, we're on the ground, I'm screaming, whatever. Things get completely out of control. And yet it was a wonderful way to just to connect with Kate. It was a good thing we did that though, because there was a lot of different things we were kind of exploring.
Yeah,
and that is
Charlie's script was it was very specifically written, but like when we would say
there was room though. That's the surprising thing that people might not think about is that, I mean, Charlie's scripts are as close to, perfect as you can get, and yet there was room within this for our relationships, and there was room for my memories of childhood and row your boat and all that. It all comes from my life.
Gondry is an awesome filmmaker in my opinion. I'm looking at you, Be Kind Rewind. And something that I love seeing in this movie is the way that Gondry plays off Kaufman's non-linear storytelling style. This is proven in an early scene where Joel talks to Clementine about his journal, and he says this.
I go to work, I come home, I should read my journal. It's just blank.
To me, this is just Kaufman's way of saying that without Clementine in his life, Joel has nothing. Much like many people, Joel's relationship with Clementine occupied all of his time and all of his thoughts. Everything was about her.
I'm just happy.
But at first, that isn't the case. In the beginning, we notice that Joel isn't really looking for the one. He doesn't even really think Clementine is the one. He's simply looking for someone who will take care of him. Someone who will make his anxiety and all of his insecurities go away.
Joel, I want her to pick me up. It's weird how strong that desire is.
As a result, we see memories where Joel is the one being cold and pushing Clementine away.
I'm erasing you and I'm happy. You did it to me first.
And I feel like that's the movie telling us that sometimes our memories trick us into thinking that we were right, but when we look back, we weren't.
But as Michelle says, the thing about the script that was, I think, so fantastic was that it really is different on every single page as you go along. And as an actor, You know, you find yourself wanting to be challenged by new things all the time. And this, you know, this was very much a script that it kept us all on our toes. And it was very funny and also incredibly touching. And I felt as well, underneath all the kind of complexities of the telling of this story, it's a very, very simple love story about two sort of social misfits who are kind of meant to be together. And to me, the love that they have for each other is very sort of realistic. It's very true to life. You know, you can't have every day in a relationship as though it's the first day that you've ever met and so on. And
or the best day.
Exactly, and it had the sort of light and shade, and I really like that, because I think that more and more these days movies are kind of, they sort of, they're cautious and they sort of shy away from, you know, telling the truth, I think, in a way. And that to me was the thing about this particular script that Charlie had written that was so incredibly unique, actually.
Okay, now let's talk about Clementine. Clementine is played wonderfully by Kate Winslet, who delivered a Best Actress nominated performance. She plays the smoky, indie, rebellious extrovert who always seems to be giving more than she's taking. Similar to her counterpart, she's also very easy to love. When Joel is depressed and seeing a world without color, she is the bright stroke of orange that he needs to feel alive again. This is exactly why he fell in love with her, or at least that's why he fell in love with the idea of her.
I'm not a concept, Joel. I'm just a fucked up girl who's looking for my own peace of mind.
Clementine is painted from Joel's perspective for most of the movie, and so in the beginning, we see her as the charming savior that's there to rescue Joel from his eternal dreary. We love her because Joel loves her. And in the end, when Joel is experiencing negative memories of her, she's the clear antagonist. She's the one pushing him away and giving him the cold shoulder, but she's also broken in all the same places as Joel. She's not alone, but she's lonely.
I'm an open book. I tell you everything. Every damn embarrassing thing. You don't trust me.
Constantly talking isn't necessarily communicating.
Joel and Clementine find what they're looking for through this trip into Joel's memories, though. What started as a seamless transition from mourning his relationship to the relief of finally moving on became a lesson in empathy and understanding for yourself and the people you love. In terms of the stages of grief, this movie plays like a couple's breakup is like grieving the loss of a loved one, and Joel experiences the stages at different points in the film, and since the film is out of order, so are the stages.
This is a hoax, right?
He experiences denial in multiple ways. Even the scene where he's confronted by Elijah Wood's character outside of Clementine's apartment, his confusion also reads very much as denial or some kind of refusal to remember. Not to mention the multiple times he refuses to let go of his once partner. He clearly experiences anger as he learns of Clementine moving on, and an outburst following an argument that technically took place before the breakup, but it was after the relationship was clearly headed south.
I assume you fucked someone tonight. Isn't that how you get people to like you?
He bargains by trying to hold on to certain memories once he regrets undergoing the procedure, and he's depressed like literally the whole movie. And it's only when he accepts his part in driving Clementine away that he's able to truly start over. He learned that it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
I still thought you were going to save my life, even after that.
This is all well and good, and I'm not kidding when I say that this movie is nothing short of wonderful. But the lesson I drew from this could be true if the relationship didn't survive. But spoiler alert, it does survive. Or does it? Well, actually, there's a theory out there that Joel and Clementine never work out and they've actually erased their memories of each other like dozens of times. It's an interesting theory, but let me know what you think down below. The ending of the movie comes when Joel and Clem finally say all the things they needed to say and realize that their lives are better with each other than without. So they make a last-minute plan in Joel's subconscious to meet in Montauk at the beach just before Joel's final memory of her is wiped away. We know this will work thanks to the non-linear storytelling, but this time around, something is different. Joel doesn't know why anymore, but he's headed to the beach. Clementine also has no clue what she's doing, but she's compelled to go to the beach too. The pair meet similarly to how they did the first time, and the relationship resets and begins where it began once before. So what does it all mean? Could they really have learned anything? I mean, after all, they forgot everything that they experienced with each other, and therefore it seems like nothing would have changed, right? Well, maybe not. See, if Joel's conflict all along was that he needed to take responsibility for his part in the failure of the relationship and learn that he needs to be there for himself if he expects anyone else to be there for him, then that's an internal lesson that he kind of learned on his own. Sure, it took a literal stroll through memory lane to see it, but the point is that he woke up from his surgery the way that you would wake up from a dream. He could feel the impact of it, even if he couldn't remember what happened. It's a fresh start, and seemingly a happy ending.
Look at it out here! It's all falling apart!
So, for me, the true meaning of this movie can be found in its shreds of relationship scenes that we get throughout the film. It paints love as something that only comes at the price of heartache. But seeing that the couple chooses each other when the chips are really down is what makes Joel own up to his own issues. The way the memories work is that they're played to show that Joel is only seeing them in his own favor. Every argument was like someone else's fault and never his. Just like we do with our own memories, Joel is seeing things that play out in a light that makes him look innocent in every situation, even if we as the audience can see right through it.
Oh, no, you wouldn't do that if you're trying to be nice.
So, long story short, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is about a person growing out of their excuses for not being perfect. It's a story that grabs you by the arm and tricks you into realizing that you only accept the love that you think you deserve. And if you don't love yourself and take care of your own individual needs, you'll end up projecting those things onto the people in your life and losing your perspective and relationships along the way. Hello, please hold your applause. Welcome to Friday Night Flicks, everybody. My name is Kier Gomes. Welcome back and happy Friday. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully you guys have had a great week. Hopefully you're looking forward to a great weekend. And most importantly, of course, happy Valentine's Day. It looks like you guys have already been quite active in the comments. As usual, I always appreciate that to keep the show interesting, keep the conversation a-flowing. Cartoon Man is here. Welcome back, Cartoon Man. Here's one for you, buddy.
Hello there.
Hopefully you guys can hear that okay. He says, hello, Kier. Have you seen Some Like It Hot? Yes, I have. I don't remember it well. I'll have to check it out again, get the dust off of it, but I have seen it. And it's kind of one of those ones that all my friends kind of tell me is worth watching. And I almost feel like left out because it's just been so long. And I think even then it's kind of a casual view for me. But yes, I have seen it. You guys want some music? Tell me if the music is too loud, as usual. That's got to be too loud. Maybe that's better. All right. Okay, so now we're into the show. We got the music on, and that can only mean one thing: the show has started. Yeah, like I said, hopefully you guys had a good week. It's kind of crazy that we're already halfway through February, though, right? Like, I almost felt like this was going to be the first live stream of February, and it's not. It's the second one. Kind of crazy. Cartoon Man says he has a feeling that the giveaway is rom-com related. Sorry to disappoint you. There is no giveaway this week. we're holding it for next week because we got a special one lined up for you guys. So, nope, no rom-com related giveaway this time. Although, had we done a giveaway, Cartoon Man, I think I probably would have opted for one of the movies on my list for today. Which, if you couldn't tell from the title and amazing thumbnail made by Kevin Fraser, today we're going to be doing a little bit of a Valentine's Day live stream here at Joe Blow. We're going to be doing some it's a variety, I guess. A little bit of rom-com, you know, kind of typical Valentine's Day stuff, but some stuff that maybe you don't associate with Valentine's Day that I think if you're alone watching movies tonight, some of these are going to be for you, you know? I tried to cover any emotion, a little bit about my process. I tried to make sure that the list of movies I'm recommending here tonight cover the whole spectrum of emotions that one might feel about being alone on Valentine's Day. You might feel lonely, you might feel sad, you might feel angry, you might feel happy, you might feel elated, you might feel relieved. So, I've got a little something for everybody. I think it's going to be a fun list for you guys. Ooh, Some Kind of Wonderful. Yeah, that could be a good video. We got another comment from the wonderful random YouTuber with Kiki as the profile picture. Yeah, that would be a good one. Maybe that's one to think about. I'll have a think about that. So if you guys are spending your Valentine's Day with me, I think it's safe to assume that you probably don't have a lot of plans between now and maybe about an hour from now, and that's good for me because it being Valentine's Day and us being a movie channel, this is kind of the perfect excuse for me, at least, to get out of the usual Joe Blow catalog, you know, to get away from the thrillers and the sci-fi, you know, and to get out of the action movies. Although there will be some action movies on here for you to Joe Blow, you know, movie lovers out there. We got you covered. But this is an excuse to kind of talk about movies that maybe we don't normally get to talk about on the channel. And that's what I'm really excited for today. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are too. And as well, I've also got a few fun little segments planned for us tonight. If we have time, there's a few movie news things that I would like to cover. You know, nothing spectacular, but I also have been watching Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and you guys know me. If I can used to talk about it on this show, I will. So we'll see what we get into. Oh, we have a returning The Only Blaboo. Welcome back. Here's for you. Hello there. He says, I don't know why I haven't seen Eternal Sunshine. It has Jim in it. Yeah, man. If you haven't seen Eternal Sunshine, you're probably, you know, just one of many. I mean, I'm sure a lot of the people you know also haven't seen that movie. But I gotta say, it is one that if you love Jim Carrey and you like it when you see him do something a little more outside of his normal box, you know, a little less comedic, Eternal Sunshine will probably scratch that itch for you, much more so than maybe some other dramatic Jim Carrey roles, like The Number 23 comes to mind. A pretty shit movie, although that would have been a fun one for Valentine's Day. For anybody that's feeling extra cringe and main character-y tonight, that would have been a good one, I reckon. But yeah, you should definitely check out Eternal Sunshine. The thing that I like about it, I mean, Charlie Kaufman writes very heady, kind of abstract, you know, stuff. And for some people, it's kind of challenging. But what I like about, including me, but what I like about Eternal Sunshine is that it kind of just throws you into the blend of everything, because the whole story is told throughout a varying timeline at different times. And so you just kind of get whiplash right into it. But it's a very like somber, slow movie. So the whiplash is kind of eased by having time to catch up with what's going on. It's just very fun. It's very fun. That's a good one to like watch maybe when you're a little stoned and just try to put it together. That's a good one. Would recommend. Man, I can't wait to share my list with you guys. And I kind of didn't want to put it in a specific order either, so I didn't. But we'll talk all about that as we go. Should we do movie news for no? You know what? Let's get straight into the list, because some of you guys are not going to be alone tonight. Some of you guys do have Valentine's Day plans. Let me recommend your movies, and with any time we have left at the bottom of the show, we'll get into some movie news, and hopefully, if there's time, some Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. For those of you that even care, I'll save it for the end. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo looked younger than Elijah Wood in that movie. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo definitely was young in that movie. He had like a very like 1950s, like he had like a Buddy Holly thing going, but he did look young. All right, Carlos. Carlos is here, and that can only mean one thing. Carlos, you get one of these.
Hello there.
Hello there. Friend and producer of the show, Carlos, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure John Fallon will be here at some point to check in on us, but, you know, us Joe Blowers stick together. So, Carlos, I appreciate you being here, my friend. Okay, let's get into the list. At your behest. Let's do it. Let's get the music back on. Oh, yeah, Cartoon Man. Jerry Maguire, Show Me the Money. That's a good movie in general. Doesn't even have to be Valentine's Day. All right, guys. Let's get into the first recommendation for tonight. And it is going to be a movie that I'm sure many of you already love. But for me, I could not think of a more opportune holiday to put this on. Oh, look. Uh-oh, guys. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. John Fallon, friend and producer of the show, John Fallon is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't hide. Oh, actually, John, excuse me. I have something for you. John Fallon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. All right, sorry. Enough of that. I'm having so much fun. We got one of these, you know, streaming. We got a stream deck, and I'm just having so much fun playing with it. So John is here. Yeah, The Crow. Oh man, John. Actually, The Crow should have been on this list. Now's not a good time for me to be overthinking all of this, but you're absolutely right. It's not on the list, but it should have been. Please don't fire me. All right, but let's get to the list. So, True Romance. This is one that I'm sure many of you have seen. This movie is a classic. Okay, directed by Tony Scott. I think Quentin Tarantino wrote this, or was it a producer on it? Can't remember. I think he wrote it though. And if you watch the movie, boy, can you tell. This movie, let me tell you first. Let's start. There's a lot I would like to say about this, but let's start with why it's a good movie for Valentine's Day. Okay. It's a love story. This is kind of a Bonnie and Clyde scenario, which I know, depending on the movie, could be very good or very bad, and we've seen it 100 times. This one is a little bit different, though. This is almost kind of the flavor of, if you guys saw the Queen and Slim came out a couple years ago. It's a very like gritty drama, but it kind of had a Bonnie and Clyde anchor to it. This is very much that, where these people aren't even proper criminals. It's not like they're robbing banks, you know, and making out. This is more like two people that fall in love and commit a crime, which leads to a series of crimes just in order to be together, you know? So perfect kind of Valentine's Day medley of things. It's got a lot of romance, a lot of true romance. And of course, it's kind of a heart and soul movie. It's one that, you know, it's one that you watch with your partner, you know, and you think about how much you love each other, and you fantasize about how cool it would be to be on the run from Christopher Walken. If I didn't mention the cast, holy shit. So let's get on to the next reason why you should check this movie out if you haven't. This cast is insane. So you have Christopher Walken as an Italian mobster. Christopher Walken. Very intimidating stuff, actually. He's got a very spooky monologue in here just before he does some bad shit. I don't want to spoil too much for those of you that are wanting to check this out. By the way, this is not one to watch with the kids. This is a mommy and daddy movie, much like this show. But it has Gary Oldman in it as well. Also as an antagonist, as a villain. But he's like a Rastafarian pimp. I'm gonna just run that by you guys again. He is a Rastafarian pimp in the movie. Gary Oldman is. That's reason enough to check it out. And he gets a really good death scene. And then, of course, Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette are our main characters. You have Elvis in this movie, who I believe in this movie was played by Brendan Fraser. No. Oh man, I know I'm gonna get bitch slapped for forgetting who played Elvis in this movie. And then as well, a great kind of cameo supporting role from Brad Pitt, who just plays a stoner on a couch. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is, if you've not experienced true romance, please, this is the Valentine's Day to do yourself that favor. This movie's fucking awesome. It's my favorite Tony Scott movie, and that is saying something, you know? I've seen Mission Impossible. I've seen Top Gun, you know? But this is, or no, you know, no, this is the best Tony Scott movie. I'm just leaving it at that. I'm not gonna dive too much into that statement. Yeah, unknown Gandolfini was in this. Yeah, if you guys like James Gandolfini, R.I.P. Oh yes, Val Kilmer was Elvis. Thank you, Mr. Bucket Man. I knew you guys were gonna bitch slap me, but thank you for being legit. Oh look, I had two homies trying to help me out, Bootzilla and Mr. Bucket Man. Thank you. Yeah, Val Kilmer plays Elvis in this movie. So you have Gary Oldman as a Rastafari pimp. You have Christopher Walken as an Italian mobster. You have Val Kilmer as Elvis. Brad Pitt plays basically me, just a guy on a couch watching TV. And then you have Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette, two beautiful faces of the 80s and 90s. So definitely watch True Romance. I think that this is one that you will not regret. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one, although I appreciate your guys' awesome comments. It seems like most of you guys like this movie as much as I do, which is great. All right, next let's get into When Harry Met Sally. You guys knew this one was coming if you paid attention to the thumbnail, which I thought was eye-catching, by the way. Let's talk about that really quick, actually. Let's talk about the let's talk about the incredible thumbnail to this video, which will no doubt probably shock any of my family watching it. But sorry about that. The idea for the thumbnail I thought was good. I worked with Kevin Fraser on it. I told him kind of like some of the movies we would be talking about and some of the funny and goofy ideas I had for the thumbnail, and he came out of that with the idea to make me Billy Crystal and give me the Billy Crystal sweater, which is iconic, but keep the gold chains. So for fans of this show, that thumbnail definitely has some little lore Easter eggs for you. Hey, random YouTuber with Kiki as your profile. You don't know what I forgot yet, okay? You don't know what you don't know. Maybe something wild is on this list. It's not. I'm sorry, but I can tell you love that movie, and I've not seen it, so I will watch it. Okay. All right, guys. Let's get back to it. So we had True Romance, When Harry Met Sally. This was the movie that inspired the thumbnail. This is the movie that made me realize how much I love love. Okay. Spoiler alert, something you guys might not know about old Kier. I'm a bit of a romantic. I consider myself to be a bit of a romantic, you know? And at the end of the day, I believe that this is the movie kind of responsible for that. I saw this movie, I was probably like, I don't know, 10, 11 years old. And it was around then that I discovered that romance was for me in a big way. So what is this movie for those of you that haven't seen it? It's a classic. You have to see this one. If you don't watch True Romance, that's shame on you. But if you haven't seen and don't watch When Harry Met Sally, come on. You're just, at that point, you're just hurting yourself, right? This movie is Billy Crystal. It's a love story that it spans across years of chance encounters and kind of ships passing in the night, a lot of will they, won't they. But what this movie is it's Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan, and they're in college. And Billy Crystal agrees to give his friend's friend a ride home, for the holidays. And that's Meg Ryan. So, they have this kind of road trip, and they don't know each other, and they kind of don't like each other at first. They're kind of like, he thinks that she's a boring prude, and she thinks he's a rude pig. And it's your classic, clash of personalities, which leads to some kind of dynamic. And that's kind of that, but they do along the way, I don't know, there's a little bit of a mutual attraction to each other. Then you see again a few years later, they're adults now, and he's engaged and she's got a man, and they kind of run into each other at the airport. So this movie, it just kind of picks up of these two people that are constantly being drawn to each other in one way or another, over and over and over and over again across years, until finally it happens and we all get what we know we want, which is Harry and Sally. This movie's great, man. There's so many things about this movie. that give you the warm and fuzz. I think this is a Rob Reiner film, so if that tells you anything, you know, this movie was made by Rob Reiner, I think. So it's kind of got the gushy goodness that you want. Now, why is this good for Valentine's Day? Okay, hold on, let me catch up on some comments. I want to read, because I'm trying to keep up with your guys' comments and read what suggestions you have for me tonight, and I'm seeing some good ones. Hip Hop Legend says Sleepless in Seattle. Absolute classic. Tom Hanks rules. Yeah, that's definitely, that's not just like a romantic movie. That's like a necessity, you know? That's like one of those ones that like redefines romantic movies, you know? It's a quotable, it's iconic. They reference it in other movies, like other romantic comedies will reference Sleepless in Seattle. That's how much that movie, like, you know, altered the formula. Yeah, good one. In Rob Reiner we trust. Sometimes, for sure. Yeah. I like Rob Reiner. I know that's a strong statement, but whatever, dude. I'm a kid who grew up in the 90s watching old movies. I love Rob Reiner. Sue me. So to close the cap on When Harry Met Sally, what really makes this a good Valentine's Day movie if you're alone is if there's a chance that if you're alone on Valentine's Day, you might be feeling like it's too late for love. You might be feeling like you've given up on love if you're alone on Valentine's Day, because it brings that shit out of you, right? It sucks, but you go to the store and you see all these like themed presents that you should be getting for your partner, but if you don't have a partner, you're just really getting slapped in the face with, you know, reminders of that. So you might be feeling like you should give up on love. This movie will remind you never to turn your back on love, because it could just pop up. It could just be you're doing a favor for a friend and you meet the woman you're going to spend the rest of your life with. You don't know. So that's why I think it's a nice one to watch if you're alone today. Ooh, Fatal Attraction for jokes. Yeah, for jokes, definitely. Okay. I realize that we're moving on from When Harry Met Sally, but before we do, I just want to share with you guys, this scene is probably my favorite scene in the movie, and it's not the one you're thinking of. It's not the one from the thumbnail. You gutter. I mean, it is, but it's a different part of that scene. But I wanted to share this because this is a scene that I always got a kick out of, and if you're on the fence about whether or not you are in the mood to watch this movie, maybe this scene will sell you. Let's check it out. You guys will know it right away.
I'd like the chef salad, please, with the oil and vinegar on the side and the apple pie a la mode.
Chef and apple a la mode.
This is how I order when I go
But I'd like
somewhere.
the pie heated, and I don't want the ice cream on top. I want it on the side, and I'd like strawberry instead of vanilla if you have it. If not, then no ice cream, just whipped cream, but only if it's real. If it's out of a can, then nothing.
Not even the pie?
No, just the pie, but then not heated.
I love that scene, that specific ass order with the chef salad, the apple pie a la mode, but she wants the ice cream. She wants the ice cream on top, but she wants strawberries instead of bananas. And then she wants whipped cream, but only if it's real. And if it's not real, then she wants none of it except for just the pie, but then not heated. I mean, it's hilarious. And that's, I think part of it too is that's kind of the thing with this movie is they keep giving you these very strong character moments between, like, Harry is kind of a rude pig at times, and Sally is kind of like an obnoxious, you know, like annoying kind of person sometimes. And so they keep having these reasons to not like each other. And I think what makes the movie beautiful, and especially on Valentine's Day, is that love conquers all of those obstacles. Listen to me, you guys. Listen to me. But I love that scene of the movie. I love that movie. That's all it is. All right, next. We've got probably my favorite love story ever. And that is Big Fish. The best Tim Burton movie besides Ed Wood is what we call it. That's what this movie is. In fact, we have a video on this coming out. So if you guys haven't seen this, please check out our video when it comes out. And definitely watch this movie as well, because it is so good. You don't want to miss this one, okay? It's been over 20 years. Go watch this movie. If you guys haven't seen Big Fish, this is... it's based on a novel, which I've not read. But Tim Burton adapted this, and it's probably like the least Tim Burton movie that he's made, in my opinion. It's kind of like there's no gothic buildings, and the characters don't look like claymation. It's normal people in a mostly like normal looking town right up until, a certain point. Those of you who have seen the movie will know it does get a little bit surreal at times. But this is, in my opinion, call me pretentious for saying so, this movie is the greatest love story of our time. Okay? And I love it. The only blub who has never heard of this. Why is that so big? Sorry about that. You've never heard of this? Dude, you have to see it. Hip Hop Legend loves it. Yeah. We got friends of Big Fish in here. That's very good. That makes me happy. This is one that's interesting because I love this movie. I've always loved it. Ever since I saw it, I was like, this is the best. I've always loved it because even outside of the romantic angle, which, like I said, guys, I'm a bit of a romantic. Okay? It happens. But even outside of that, this movie's just like fun. It's just like a fun adventure. It's about a guy named Edward Bloom, and he's dying, and his son, played by Billy Crudup, comes to visit him, and basically is just in his son's wife is indulging their dying dad in one last chance to tell his life story. And the thing with Edward Bloom, the dying dad, is that he's a storyteller. He likes to tell tall tales, make up things that didn't happen to make the stories more juicy, okay? That's his whole thing. And his son hates it because that's how he grew up, and he's annoyed by it, but his son's wife wants to hear it. So out of it, we get this incredible love story that's embellished so much that it just becomes this, fantasy, adventure, romantic travel through World War II, and there's a lot of like revisionist history going on. There's a lot of like real historical events that were changed to suit like the character and their arcs. It's a great movie that's so big in scope. And the final scene of this movie, or maybe not, yeah, it's like the final scene. The scene where the dad finally kicks the bucket. Man, if that doesn't make you cry, you don't have a heart. I promise you. Watch the whole movie, and if not even one tear at the end, you don't have a heart. Then you don't care about Valentine's Day. So yes. Darnell's here. What's up, Darnell? Thank you. Welcome back. Don't worry about being late, brother. We're always here. Friday, same time every time. As long as you get here at all, man. You haven't missed too much. Yep. Random YouTuber says that aside from Batman 89, Big Fish is your favorite Tim Burton film. I actually like this movie more than Batman 89. I do. I really do. And I think I might have even seen it more times, which is crazy given the deficit of years in between those movies. Like Batman 89 has been around literally my entire life because it came out before I was born. So that movie's been around my whole life, and I've probably still seen Big Fish more, and that movie came out when I was like 12. Whoa. That whole statement made me feel old, and also made me feel like I just shitted on Batman 89, and none of that was the intention. Ooh, yeah, Sam Parker. Samuel, thank you for being here, man. I haven't seen you in a while, I don't think. Says, what about Big Fish double feature with Edward Scissyhands? Dude, definitely. Classic. Edward Scissorhands, I actually have that as... I love that movie. Also one of my favorite Burton movies, and I also kind of think of that movie as a Christmas movie. So it's kind of, you could do that as a great double feature. 2 cozy holidays. Ooh, You've Got Mail. That's a great one. Glindle says, how about You've Got Mail with Tom Hanks? That's a great one. That movie was the rom-com that was the first one to capitalize on email. How fun is that? Okay, so what have we talked about so far? I know Darnell was late. Some of you guys are just now coming in. Welcome. Hello. So far, we've talked about 3 of the best movies you could watch on Valentine's Day, and that is True Romance, When Harry Met Sally, and Big Fish. And, man, it's like talking about these movies. I wish there was more time in the night, because I would do a quadruple feature with some of these right now, with my wife, because like I said, I'm a bit of a romantic. Aww. This is my favorite sound effect. Aww. You know why? Because that sounds like me. That sounds like me. That sounds like every time I see my cat. That's why. Oh, The Princess Bride, great Valentine's Day movie. Again, a lot of those movies are like so good anytime, you know? I mean, so are all the movies on tonight's list, but yeah. All right. Let's get on to the next one. What do we got next? Oh, hello. Next we got... Oh, yes! Now we're talking. Okay. This one I was excited to put on this list for all the reasons, okay? One, I love this movie. It's great. You know, we're going to talk about that. Two, I actually saw this movie for the very first time on a Valentine's Day when I was alone. And so I was excited to put it on this list and hopefully share some of its sage-like wisdom with you. Now, this is a movie that will make you more cynical of love than anything, but at the end of the day, the message is good anyway, you know? It's not... This is one that you'll watch if you're alone on Valentine's Day and you're feeling a little bit jaded and you're feeling like nobody understands how fucking hard it is, you know? Because let's face it, it's hard. And the older you get, the harder it gets to find love, right? This movie will join you in that cynical, in that kind of like, you know, valid, frustrated approach. But the thing that it does nicely is it uses this movie's kind of aggro, very angsty, like, you know, story and attitude to, at the end, have Jack Black singing and kind of just have you feeling like, yeah, maybe this shit is hard, but it's okay. And that's okay. You know, it's kind of one of those. Yep, hip hop legend. This is very much the one with Jack Black. This was one of Jack Black's first movies. I think it was like his first like lead, not leading role, but like his first actual role in a movie where he's playing like a real character in the movie. And he did a great job. I think Jack Black in this movie did a good job at like, because it's before he had like a signature style that he was kind of known for. And so I think that like the way that his performance came across was you got prototypes of a lot of those Jack Black isms, you know, the funny dancing and like the kind of like, you know, like, I don't know how to, it's just the Jack Black isms. But also he was still kind of trying on some dramatic stuff. And he was still like, you know, trying to like, I think prove himself as an actor, not just as a character. Or not just as like Jack Black, the persona. So it's really good. If you haven't seen it, definitely check out High Fidelity. It's also got Zoe Kravitz's mom. I wish I could remember her name. You guys want to know something interesting? They did a remake of High Fidelity in the form of a TV show. And they gender swapped the main character, originally played by John Cusack. It was played by Zoe Kravitz. And her mom was the love interest of that character in the original film. That's pretty cool. When I learned that, I was obsessed with that. Oh, Mike Conway is here. We have yes, Lisa Bonet. That's it. We have another Joe Blow employee in the hizzy. Thank you for being here, Conway. In fact, you know what, man? Let's give you a round of applause for being here. Mike Conway is here, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, there we go. Thank you for being here, Conway. And thank you for coming in clutch with Zoe Kravitz's mom's name. I'm still going to call her Zoe Kravitz's mom. Okay, Lisa Bonnet. Daniel Garcia, thank you. Yes, coming in clutch. Yeah, it seems like a lot of fans of this movie. You know, the thing about this movie, too, that people, I think, feel drawn to is the guy, like, owns a record store that he, like, lives above. He's got this obsession with top fives and kind of like making little like lists to entertain him and break down things that he enjoys. And at least I relate to that big time. And I know a lot of other people do too. Like in my regular life, I know people that are like that. And so the movie's kind of fun because it's very much a movie where you feel like you're just kind of hanging out with John Cusack of all people. And you're kind of like just there to, you know, indulge him during his time of breakup and reflection. It's fucking awesome, dude. It's so good. Oh, Lisa Bonet. Thank you, Darnell Leak. This is how you pronounce it, and I was saying bonnet. It's Bonet, which of course it is because it looks like Bonet, or it looks like Bonet. But I was like, I'm gonna sound stupid if I say it. So anyway, that's that's where it all went down. You know, that's basically my thought process on why I just call her Zoe Kravitz's mom, who's beautiful, but she'll remain unnamed. She just has to. Yeah, so High Fidelity, definitely check it out. The one where am I at? There we go. Sorry guys, pushed the wrong button there. The one last thing I wanted to say, this is also one that you can watch with a partner, even if you're not alone on Valentine's Day, because even though it's cynical, even though it's a little bit, I don't know, like frustrated, I guess, like I said earlier, it's like a little bit like, you know, jaded. You can watch it with a partner, because then what'll end up happening is you and your partner will end up making top fives of like your worst first dates and your worst, you know, kisses or whatever the case is. And that's always fun too. You have a couple glasses of wine, you talk about old times, you learn about each other. You know, you revel in how good things are now. All right, guys, we're moving on to the next one. We got a lot to get through, so I apologize for overindulging in my love for each movie. But you guys know how it is. It's like when you love something and you have a list of things you love, every single one of these things is important to you. So you want to talk about all of them, you know? And this one definitely has to get some airtime, because I don't know if I will personally get a chance to talk about this movie in video form. I don't know when, because I'm not sure if this is the kind of video that you guys want to see. Please let me know if you would. But Punch Drunk Love by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Adam Sandler. There's 2 movies, at least so far on this list, that feature comedic actors playing dramatic roles. There was Jim Carrey in the pre-show, Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Probably his best dramatic role, in my opinion. And then Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk Love, probably his second best dramatic role, because Reign Over Me. He killed that movie. He was so good in that movie. But Punch Drunk Love is it's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, so you know what you're going to get. It's going to be a little bit sexy, a little bit taboo, a little weird, and very much not something you watch with your kids, despite seeing Happy Gilmore on the cover. This ain't that kind of movie. Although I will say, Adam Sandler is one of those actors where even when he's being serious, he can't avoid, like, if he yells, if he raises his voice at all, you automatically think of Billy Madison. It's a little hard. It's a little hard to get all the way there. But in this movie, he does it. It's so good. It's a love story movie. This is just a romantic drama is what this movie is. It's about Adam Sandler, who plays Barry. He's like a very shy, kind of, you know, he's a shy, introverted, very lonely man. And he meets a girl that he likes. And after being scammed by a phone sex agency and discovering a loophole in, man, it's so hard to explain this. This movie you really watch to get the idea of it. But basically it's kind of he's got to learn to stand up for himself, to help somebody that he's recently fallen in love with. And along the way, he learns more about himself, and it makes him a better person. It's one of those, okay? It's not slow or anything like that. It's just one that you watch, not one that you describe. Because describing it to you guys is not going to do it any justice. It's only going to sound muddied, you know? Yeah, dude, Reign Over Me, I cried at 2 different parts of that movie. I obviously cried like during like the final confrontation when Adam Sandler finally explains all of his feelings and weird behavior to the mom. If you remember that, like outside of the courtroom, that scene had me crying. We're talking about Reign Over Me right now, by the way, guys. And then the other scene in that movie that had me crying was the awkward take your shoes off conversation. The first time that Don Cheadle goes to his apartment, because that's when you see what he lives like and kind of how strange he is. And that's when you realize that he really needs help. And it's super emotional, man. It's really sad. Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. You could put any P.T. Anderson movie on this list. Even Boogie Nights is a good one to watch on Valentine's Day. You know what? Boogie Nights is definitely a good one to watch if you're alone on Valentine's Day, because, well, if you've seen it, you know. Yeah, Licorice Pizza was good. I have a little bit of beef with Licorice Pizza. I don't love... It's not my favorite PTA movie. In fact, I had some problems with it. Licorice Pizza to me was great, minus like it was missing. It felt a lot like Almost Famous, which is probably my favorite movie of all time. But it was missing some of like the texture, you know, like there was just like little, I think it was maybe just a little too drawn out and not as brisk. I don't know. There was like somewhere in the movie I kind of was like, all right, let's get to it. But I love Philip Seymour Hoffman's son in that movie. Maybe his last name is Bonet as well. And speaking of Philip Seymour Hoffman, you guys, if you have not seen Punch Drunk Love, watch it specifically for Philip Seymour Hoffman. I'm going to show you guys a clip. Watch this clip, and this will make you want to watch the movie. There's some context. There's a confrontation between Adam Sandler and Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's kind of the villain of the piece. He runs this dry cleaning, phone sex operating scam. He's just like one of those like seedy underbelly criminals, okay? And Adam Sandler finally confronts him on the phone. Now keep in mind, Adam Sandler's like a bitch the whole movie. So he's finally standing up for himself. And then Philip Seymour Hoffman gets on the phone and they're having just check this out. This is the best. I'm not going to hype it up anymore. Just watch this scene. Let me turn it up. It goes quick, so we might have to watch it twice.
Shut up! Shut the fuck! You have no right to take me. Shut up! Will you shut up? Shut up! Shut up!
Let's watch it again. Let's just watch it one more time. Let's see how many times he says shut up. Let's try to count.
Shut up! Shut the fuck! You have no right to take me. Shut up! Will you shut up? Shut up! Shut up!
That was 10. And he says it another time after that. He goes, shut up! And then he stops and then goes, shut the fuck up! He keeps saying it. It's so good. This would be a fun clip. Like, this is just a clip sometimes that like explains how I feel on the inside, you know? That's just like when the world is too much, you know, and my phone's ringing and the HOA has scheduled like 50 different landscapers to be on my block at the same time, and nobody will let me, get my piece. This is exactly how I feel. It was captured perfectly.
Shut up! Shut the fuck! You have no right to take me. Shut.
I love it so much. Shut up! Shut the fuck up! It's so good. Yeah, Dirk Diggler isn't very romantic. Oh, is very romantic. Oh, yeah. Talking about Boogie Nights. Darnell Leak talking about Marky Mark and Boogie Nights. Phantom Thread. Yeah, Phantom Thread. That's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie that was not for me. I did not like that movie. Too slow. His Oscar movies, I don't know. Licorice Pizza went to the Oscars, but I don't think it won any. All right, guys, we're back to the list. Now we've got Say Anything, another John Cusack movie. And this one you can't skip because personally, I think John Cusack as Lloyd in this movie, probably one of my favorite movie characters ever. Here's why. There's times, this is a Cameron Crowe movie. He's one of my favorite directors, you know? And there's times when people write self-inserts into their movies and they end up coming off as like main character syndrome, right? You know, like as much as I love the movie, but Mars Callahan, who wrote Pool Hall Junkies, made himself like the tragic, way too smart, street smart, heart of gold, morally, perfect, but just down on his luck tragic hero. And sometimes when people write self-inserts, they over glorify the good stuff and they make themselves come off as a little too perfect. The character of Lloyd, who I believe in this film is Cameron Crowe's insert character, is not that, but he is, but he's not. He's exactly like as I described. He's kind of like great morals, you know, he doesn't let anyone drive drunk, doesn't care if you're a stranger, he's gonna help you out. He'll teach you how to drive. You know, he's a nice guy that everybody likes because he's so nice. And he's also athletic. He's a boxer. Ooh, and he's cool and edgy and he's smarter than everyone. And girls love him. But of course, he only has eyes for the one girl. So it is like on paper, it's very main character like. The way that this movie does it though is they make him so honest and like so like believable and like goofy about all of that stuff that you really buy he is just that nice, and he happens to just be liked by that many people, and he is that cool because of it. So it's really good. It's hard to explain, but this is a movie with a movie character that is inspiring. And I think especially for those of you that love movies, and I know some of you, you know, write your own stuff and would like to make your own stuff. I think like this movie could give you a crash course in how to build a main character that checks all the lists you want somebody to check without being too much or too cheesy or too on the nose. That's what Say Anything is. This movie's so fucking good. And so is the band Say Anything. I know Mike's here, so Mike, maybe you can attest to this. This movie is as good as the band, and they're both great. So one doesn't have anything to do with the other, but you know. All right, let's keep it moving. I got another one for you guys. This is a newer one, so I'm going to talk less about it because I really think this is one you guys just need to see. Okay, and this is Anora, the latest film by one Sean Baker. Sean Baker, who to me is kind of the new Paul Thomas Anderson. Between like Red Rocket and this, I haven't seen all of his movies, but I saw Red Rocket, I saw this, and whatever. I don't know. I think I saw another one. Sean Baker knows what's up, and this movie is a great Valentine's Day movie. 2 reasons, as usual. One, because you can watch this whether you're alone or not. Definitely you can watch this with a loved one. If you have a partner and they're into movies and you're into movies, watch this one. It's very fresh and new. It's like, it seems a little bit like maybe predictable in the first act of the movie. You're kind of like, don't get me wrong, it's interesting and colorful and really fun to watch. But the first half of the movie is a little bit like, you know, kind of paint by numbers. Here, let's take a look into the sex work industry from a ground level perspective, which is very Sean Baker. So if you're a fan of his work, the first act of this movie, you'll be like, okay, I know what he's doing. But then the movie kind of like at a moment's notice just kind of shifts into being a very witty and clever and charming and just super funny movie about like 2 homie lovers, you know, that are just friends, and it's you know, that just get each other. It's fun. It's about 2 strangers falling in love, and even when people in their life, you know, have things to say about it, they find a way to make it work. And they just took that premise and moved it to the most extreme version of that by making the naysayers of this situation dangerous people. So that's cool. You know, this is a really good movie. Definitely watch it. Mikey Madison is awesome. If you guys don't know who she is, the only thing I think I've seen her in is this and Scream 5. She was the killer in Scream 5. Spoilers? I don't know. Hannibal Grimm did not like this movie. He says the cinematography was bipolar and the editing annoyed the hell out of me. I'm not sure. I don't know. This hang on. This is why I keep looking. This is the thought I had when I read that comment. I don't know. I mean, I kind of get what you mean by saying like the cinematography is bipolar. I kind of understand what you mean by that. But I think like I wouldn't say it was bipolar. I would say it was just dynamic, you know? That's like, I think a better word for it. It was just had like a lot of variety in it. And it was a little bit like, even like at times it was a little bit erratic, but so was the movie. The movie got a little bit erratic at times, you know? So maybe that was it. Oh, yes, that is what I know her. Yes, she was also in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She's just a small part in that, but yeah, she tries to kill the dudes. Yes, okay, yes. That is another thing that you have seen her in for show. Yeah, no, this I will say that is a valid statement. Hannibal Grimm says there were shots I loved and shots that pissed me off. That I can kind of get down with for sure. Man, you guys have some good recommendations as well. I'm looking right now, and some of you guys are making me laugh. Oh, Conway says that he hopes the Before trilogy is on here. Okay, so Conway, let's talk about that, man. I love the Before trilogy. I really do. And I've mentioned to you guys before, so you know this. I'm a romantic. Okay? but the Before trilogy is not on here because I didn't want to count it as one spot, because you can't watch all 3 movies as one. I mean, you could watch them all 3 back to back to back, but you can't put that as one slot on the list. And I couldn't put just one of them, and I couldn't put all 3 of them. So it's not on here. But if you guys haven't seen Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight, definitely watch those movies. That's a beautiful love story that spans decades, literally decades, because they made the movies decades later. So good. So fucking good. So it's not on here, but great suggestion anyway. For those of you that haven't seen it, definitely check out the Before trilogy. All right, moving on. We've got, okay, this next one's an interesting one. This is going to be for those of you that are alone on Valentine's Day, but maybe seeking a little bit of adventure. This is The Perfect Trip, The Perfect Trap, The Tourist. Ooh. Okay, now, I admit this is one that maybe some of you would be surprised to see on this list, or any list, because it's a little bit of a nonchalant movie. It's a sleeper of a movie in the sense that not a lot of people talk about this movie still. Not a lot of people ever really did talk about this movie. And I get that. But I think it's important that it's on the list because this is one I can't talk too much about this one without spoiling it. And this one I don't want to spoil for you because the whole movie hinges on the twist. It's one of those. But if you haven't seen it, you want to see it for the first time, see it for the first time on Valentine's Day tonight. It's a love story, but it's not really a love story. It's like a different type of deal. But love and romance is a key element to this, okay? But it's kind of a spy versus spy, con artist, type deal. It's international, so it's exciting and fun. I think it's in Italy. This is a fun movie, and the twist of the movie is a little silly. It's a little bit like, you kind of, but I think the movie, the first time you see it and you see that twist, it makes it fun. It is fun. This movie is just fun. It's got Angelina Jolie. Hello. It's got Johnny Depp when he was in his prime. Hello. Before he was, a total asshole anyway. Boots. Never seen this one. Always get mixed up with the one you always mix this one up with the one she's in with Antonio. But this movie is nothing like Original Sin, brother. If you guys haven't seen Original Sin, it's a pretty hot, and I mean like hot kind of movie. So maybe you'll watch that one on Valentine's Day if you're all the way alone and your neighbors won't hear you. But this movie is nothing like Original Sin. It's just another movie with Angelina Jolie. So, yeah, see, I hear this a lot, that some people, they saw it the one time and they didn't like it. Or I hear people that loved it the first time they saw it, and then the second time, because they knew the twist, they didn't love it as much. So I've heard that. But this isn't necessarily a movie I love. This is one that I highly recommend. If you haven't seen it, this is the perfect time. You have to check it out. It's awesome. In fact, I put this one on the list over Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which I think is an Angelina Jolie movie to watch every Valentine's Day if you're married or have a partner, because it's fun and cute, and Adam Brody's in it, and I love Adam Brody. Yep, The Tourist. Yeah, I know. It's funny because the movie itself, and again, I can't talk too much about it because it really hinges on some of the stuff you don't know. But it's an espionage type situation, and it raises like the stakes of like, a movie like Night and Day, which was kind of like someone's after you because of something you have. The Tourist is kind of like dealing with like there's bigger odds, there's bigger stakes than that. So it's like you get a lot more than just romance out of it, and maybe that's why it's a good movie to watch on Valentine's Day. Yeah. Man, thank you guys so much. Some of you guys, thank you. So, some of you guys are even adding my recommendations to your lists. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. How many do we have left? We've got... Let's see. We have True Romance, When Harry Met Sally, Big Fish, yeah, Punch Drunk Love. Okay, we're moving on to this next one. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Had to make sure that we've got only 2 left, so it looks like we might have a little bit of time to get into some other stuff. But I want to make sure I get all the way through the list, so I'm moving on. But thank you guys for bearing with me. True Lies. Hello. Hold on a second. This one's for True Lies, right here. If that's the mood you're in this Valentine's Day, this be the movie that you gotta watch. Okay. True Lies is everything. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's Jamie Lee Curtis. It's like extremely action packed. It's hot. It's sexy. It's even a little bit fun and funny. This movie is great, dude. And it's James Cameron's True Lies, which we all know. Actually, if you guys haven't seen the 4K of this, it actually looks pretty good. I know some of his other movies get a lot of shit for looking terrible, and I'm not going to say that the AI makes it better. It makes, so far, everything worse that he's done with it. But the True Lies 4K does look pretty okay in some shots. They're not all of them, but some of them look pretty okay, and it's probably worth seeing the movie. But yeah, check out this film because I like the variety you get with this one. Okay, if you're in the mood for a love story, you're definitely gonna get that. If you're in the mood for like regular high octane Arnold, you're gonna get that. If you're in the mood for Jamie Lee Curtis doing a sexy dance, you're gonna get that. So it has everything for everyone, for all of you, for me, for everyone. And of course, this is a movie that is worth watching, if nothing else, just for the finale, the big showdown at the end of the movie where Jamie Lee Curtis is hoisted up into the chopper from Arnold. Whew, that was quite a moment. And I think that's how intense it was. I think there's even, I saw like some behind the scenes of that. I think like the Blu-ray maybe had like a little doc on how they did that. And man, the amount of work that went into shooting that scene kind of makes it worth watching, just like knowing how they had to go about it to pull it off and then seeing what it looked like and like in the final product. It's insane, dude. This movie is definitely worth watching. Yeah, Paxton is, of course, Paxton's the GOAT in like everything he's in, but Paxton is the GOAT in True Lies. That's like the new Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, yo. You know? Stephen O'Donnell says, hey, welcome back, by the way, brother. Says, I still haven't seen this. I should be shot. Just watch it tonight. If you're alone on Valentine's Day, my brother, this is one of 10 movies I've given you as a gift to watch tonight. So please do it. And then you can come back next week and be like, yo, dude, you were right. This movie was fucking sick and it made me feel better, you know? And that makes me feel good. Yeah. Maya Sade says, would a spy pee himself? Good quote. Great quote. All right, guys. And finally, and again, this was in no particular order, but I had to throw a cheesy one on here just for me. And if you're alone on this Valentine's Day and you really want to believe in love and get a kick-ass soundtrack while you're at it, please watch John Hughes' Pretty in Pink. There's a lot of John Hughes movies you could watch that will give you the warm and fuzzies. For me, it's just about all of them. Except for St. Elmo's Fire, I don't like that movie at all. But Pretty in Pink is one of my favorites. And when it comes to Valentine's Day, this one is, I think, a little more love-focused. You know, like 16 Candles, very love-focused. Breakfast Club, not really at all, but there's some elements of it. This movie is about love. It's about teen love. And it's great. It's got, you know, your classic brat pack, but with the addition of John Cryer, who plays Ducky in this movie. John Cryer plays a character named Ducky in this movie, which is hilarious. Yeah. Analog Aperture, I will give you the full list. Actually, after this one, I'll give you the full list. So stick around, please. I will tell you the full list. Could you describe the ruckus? Yeah, it's a great Breakfast Club quote. Yeah, but Pretty in Pink is awesome. This movie has the added benefit of it's not just the James Spader. It's not just the John Cryer. It also has Amy Potts, who, if you don't know, plays Janine in Ghostbusters. And she's amazing in this movie. She's very punk rock. She changes her outfits and hair all the time. She's great. And I feel like she's like the quintessential 80s friend that everybody wished they had, you know, especially like in the John Hughes verse. It's a great movie. Yeah, 16 Candles, Long Duck Dong. Donger need food. Yep, Annie Potts. Annie Potts and her Liberty Spikes. That was what it was all about, huh? But yeah, Annie Potts, if you guys are Ghostbusters fans, like I am, Amy Potts is a big deal. Oh, Annie, I'm so sorry. I keep saying Amy. Annie, yes, Annie. You guys will have to forgive me. You know how I am with names. Next, I'm going to get somebody in the comments being like, it's not John Cryer, it's John Creer. It's not John Creer, is it? Uh-oh. Okay, so for the full list, let's see. Who was it that wanted the full list? Analog Aperture. Here we go. I'm going to give you the full list, buddy. Here you go. We started off the list with True Romance, which I highly recommend if you haven't seen it. Amazing movie. Tony Scott. Don't need to say much more. Then we got When Harry Met Sally. So that's number 2. Definitely, you guys, if you haven't seen this one yet, please watch it. Please watch it. It's so sweet. Then we got Big Fish, which, again, can't recommend enough. High Fidelity, Punch Drunk Love. I love all of these movies. I wish I could watch every single one. Say Anything, and then Honora, The Tourist, True Lies, and Pretty in Pink. So Analog Aperture, there you go. That is your full 10 list of movies I recommend to watch if you're alone this Valentine's Day. I also feel like there might have been a few times I said Thanksgiving instead of Valentine's Day on this stream. I don't know why I do that. I mix up names, I mix up holidays, I mix up dates and numbers. I'm either dyslexic or I don't know. Maybe I got too much going on upstairs. Oh, yeah, Analog Aperture, you have to watch True Romance and True Lies. If I had to recommend one, I would say watch True Romance because I love that movie more, but True Lies is a classic. You cannot go wrong with either one. Definitely watch one of those tonight. Yeah, High Fidelity is awesome. Oh, you rock too. Thanks, dude. Yeah, and The Crow. And everybody, don't forget, John says watch The Crow. You definitely have to do that too. Yeah, Raising Arizona. You guys have some great suggestions too. Maybe for the next holiday, if we do something like this, like, what's coming up? Maybe St. Patrick's Day or something. Maybe I'll put up a poll like the week before, and then you guys, like for best St. Patrick's Day movies, let's say, and then you guys will have time to comment your suggestions. I could watch some of them and then maybe include them on my list. I think that's a good idea. I think I'm going to start giving you guys more heads up on what the topics are going to be when I know, just so that way we can all kind of like, I don't know, commiserate before the show. I think that would be good. Let me know what you guys think about that. All right. I think, that's going to do it, guys. We're at about an hour on the stream, but it is Valentine's Day. And unlike some of you lonely suckers, I got a smoking hot wife that I have a date with tonight. So I am going to go, but I want to leave you guys with this. Thank you all so much for joining me. I know it's a holiday and it's not like a serious holiday, but it does mean a lot that we could spend some of this time together. And for those of you that actually are alone tonight, hopefully I was able to make you feel a little less alone, which, as cheesy as that sounds, I honestly mean that. I really hope that that's the case. So let me leave you with this one more time. Once more, unto the breach.
Shut up! Shut the fuck! You have no right to take me. Shut up! Will you shut up? Shut up! Shut up!
All right, gangsters. I'm out of here. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Friday. I know I will. And I will see you on the next stream. Bye-bye. Let's get out of here.